Just like, by the way, you'll notice this is one area I'm very fair, but I also just try not to like get into bullshit narratives. When I did my interview with sOAZ, I just said he was a 3-time semi-finalist or better. I didn't put he was a finalist this time. Because it's like, mate, you only played the last game when it was already lost in season. Like, you don't even count that one for yourself. Just make it that you were in the tournament. You sort of went fine. It counts to your past ones. Like, let's not overdo that one. Let's not go into promiscuous territory. You know, let's just keep it legit. Let's have fun here, boys.
I mean, that was actually something I regret. I regret not having the selflessness of stepping down there. I was not suited stylistically.
Were you so hyped off the semis, you just thought you could do it?
No, I mean, it was also scrim results, right? It's not like IG. Like, there was never a point where, like, one-on-one, I had a problem with laning against the Shy or anything like that, right? Like, you know, the funny thing is, I told Dylan Falco exactly what was, in my opinion, the strongest counter against Urgot and Swain, which are the champions I played most, which was a Predator jungler. I told him, if the enemy team locks in a Predator jungler and ganks top lane, I don't really have counterplay. Like, I'll just die. Like, the champions just run me down. Like, Skarner or Gragas, it doesn't matter. They run me down and they just kill me. And I don't know, like, I don't think I have counterplay. I think my champions just die. Well, that happened. But the point I was trying to make is that actually our scrim results against IG were positive with sOAZ, and they were negative with me.
Yeah, that's what he said in the interview, basically. Because if people don't get it, the reason why that was actually, listen, I've said this before, mate. I'm obviously a massive fan of sOAZ, and I actually think sadly the last few years are really depressing because he's even on those teams, Misfits and Immortal, he was the best part of those teams.
Yes,
Any of the wins they got was just him dragging them out of the fire, and then they would just jump right back in again. He was like, fuck it, I can't do this 3 times a game. But here's the point, right? At Season 8 Worlds, because of where you were as a rookie, like you had the beginner's mind. You didn't know you could lose, you know. Where the meta hit you, you had those picks. Like, obviously that Victor basically won the semi-final. Like, they couldn't do anything against that because one of their best players was neutralized. But the problem is this. That final was where the skill set sOAZ had built up the last few years of like super smart map play, don't have to win. That would have been the perfect time to do that because that isn't the time to go head to head with the Shy in the final, unfortunately, you know. So I think it's cool that you can admit that, fair enough, because I'm not saying for the rest of the tournament you would have been better, but that might be a rare case where it would have made sense to.
Oh, absolutely.
But the problem is, listen, if you're in your first proper year in LEC and you're winning, and you've done all this much, you're not going to say to the coach, sadly, like, can I just not play the finals and can we maybe win Worlds without me? And I'm just going to, like, that's hard to do, but I don't know if anyone could do that, mate. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
It's something I have to blame myself for, right? Because again, like, it was the first time, like, I know this sounds maybe strange, but it was the first time my mother ever came to watch me play. And
Yikes.
Damn.
I flew her out to Korea to get her to watch me play, right?
That's great.
And I couldn't, like, I don't think I could find it in myself to not be the guy going into the first game. Like, you know, my dad was there, my brother was there, my mom was there. You know, like, I would have flown in my girlfriend if I could, but that didn't work out. But in the end, like, everyone was there and they were all coming to watch me play. So how could I not play? Was my point of view. When in reality, I shouldn't have. In fact, I even knew that in the scrims we were playing, like, the reason why we were winning was because we were playing Shen. So I was playing Shen.
There you go. Classic.
Dog champion.
Yeah.
Enough.
You know when fans go too ham on the narratives, right? Because they think it's like a feel-good movie and it's all going to work out in the end. That's a perfect example. Because if this was a movie, Bwipo, of course in the final you win. Your mom's like, wow, son, like, I'm so glad you took this career. Like, I love you. And except here's the thing. In real life, the Shy, one of the most arrogant players of all time, who doesn't give a fuck, it seems, about half of his teammates and how the game's played or what the coach wants him to play, just wins and really is like some anime villain, just like, you fucking plebs, pathetic, and then just walk off the shot. You're like, where's the message in this movie? It's like, it's not a movie, guys, it's real life, I'm afraid. Like, that's just real life, innit?
This is a small detail, because when I went on stage, right, they banned Victor immediately, and then sOAZ goes on stage, they banned Shen immediately, and that's when I realized, like, that game 3, I was like, fuck. Fuck. I could have done one of two things. One, practice the living shit out of Shen. 2, let sOAZ play, because at least if sOAZ played the first 2 games, we would have actually been able to see what would happen, you know, like, because ultimately what happened with me was, like, I think our drafts are also not as great. And in the end, I think I don't blame anyone on our team for going with what we did, right? Like, we that was the lineup we ran with for the majority of that playoffs, right? It made sense in the end. It made sense to just play it one more time. The problem was the game 1 that we lost. the problem was the game one that we lost, it wasn't like, it was just a draft loss, basically. Everyone just chalked it up like, look, we drafted Urgot, Aurelia, Jhin into Sion. There was no hope that game, right? That's what everyone chalked it up to. So you go into game 2 and you're like, you know what, but then that's the problem. You lose game 2 and you run out of gas.
I think like, I think the other thing to consider is that there really was no winning in that situation, because if they had started sOAZ instead of you and then lost the first 2 games,
they'd all get blamed.
Then they'd just be like, wow, they're so fucking stupid. Bwipo was winning the majority of the playoffs.
There was actually a reason, like a valid reason, which is something that I haven't really spoke about, because I don't want to put this in negative connotation towards sOAZ, but you have to consider that if you're playing, like, the thing is, we played me for the majority of the tournament, right?
Right.
So if you have me on the bench and I come in, this can actually give you a morale boost, because you're like, this was the lineup we were supposed to be playing.
Sure.
You understand? Like,
but if you lose in a 5-game series and you go 2-1 after you come back in,
that's true,
then the narrative is just going to be like,
they should have had him in from game 1. They should have had him in.
Exactly. I'm just saying there's not going to be a...
From the outside, that's your perspective.
But from inside, you would have been able to appreciate it. Right.
On my team, like, they actually would have had a morale boost, because they're like, oh, the player that we've ran for the majority of the tournament and had success with is coming back. Like, I'm coming in. Like, let's say sOAZ plays the first 2 games, and then I come in. Like, sure, everyone else in the world might think the same thing, but the actual people that matter, the people's opinions that matter on the swap, which are not everybody else, only the players matter, might feel like, or at least the feeling I would have gotten is like everyone else on my team would have been like, you know what, let's fucking go. Like, this was the lineup we were winning with. Our boy that we always win with, he's fucking back. Let's fucking go. And obviously that puts you in a very bad light. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. No, I get it. It makes sense internally.
What I want people to understand is that me coming in would have had a positive effect. Whereas if you lose with your main lineup that you were running for the majority of world, and then you make a substitution that is not something that, like, that's your backup, right? That's like, well, shit, hit the fan, guys, fuck it. That's basically what we did there. It doesn't help.
Here's the thing, though. Listen, if I was in an elimination game and I'm the coach of Fnatic at Worlds, I would sub sOAZ in as well, but I'd sub him in instead of Reckless so that you could all just leave the stage in an orderly time.
Fucking hell. Whatever, man. The funny thing is, I was a bot laner that year, so you even get
fire as well, mate, in LEC when you were playing those mages. You were like Swain. That was straight fire. That's the real what if, by the way. I know the meta did change, but like when they had that weird funnel meta, dude, that sOAZ Bwipo lineup was straight fire, because who the fuck's ever played against a team like that? Like, it's like, what are you even supposed to do?
I mean, he was just playing Mundo, leading the like we were all buying into the Goon Squad meme. Like, we're just playing a Goon Squad. Like, we have sOAZ playing Mundo, running around like a madman. Like, he was tanking turret shots, popping his hour. Like, he was making fun of people with his W. Like, and we were all buying into it. We were like, let's fucking go. Playing Sway. Like, our comps were like Yasuo, Sejuani, Mundo.
That was a dark time. That was a dark time.
Simulator. I know exactly. Draft simulator.
It was great. It was actually just 4 champions, like, with no brain, running around just killing everything, and then you had like ErikHillestad sweating for his life, playing Pyke, trying to kill people.
By the way, in light of the conversation we had at the very beginning of the show when we were doing that little segment before, there's a perfect example of how something can be fun but not high level. Because here's the thing, that was a in terms of like actual like the concept of League of Legends, that was an abomination. But I tell you what, I loved watching the G2 where they were like, right, our only hope is perks. We are literally going to funnel everything into him, and he has to literally 1v9 the game. That was fucking amazing where they used to have to do that scene. Like it wasn't good League of Legends. Like, even they were like, we really shouldn't be wasting. They even said this to me, like, we shouldn't really be wasting any scrims practicing this. This is such a waste of time. Like, it'll never be like this at Worlds. But it's like, how can we not do it when we can win the game? Like, that eternal temptation.
Right. I mean, ultimately, it was an interesting meta, and the idea like funnel never really showed up. But like, I don't even think it's unplayable, to be honest with you. Like, I'm sure
it is. I think you could run it and like surprise somebody and cheat.
What type of comp would you have to run now though to do that?
I mean, still, I think Ytaric would be it. And the thing is like, to play something like Ytaric, you'd have to be exceptional, the champion that. Well, you have no reason to be exceptional at, right? There's one player in the history of League of Legends that has played Mastery since his rework, and I'm pretty sure it was because he got bored of playing all the other meta champs, which is Faker.
Yes.
He got bored of making fun of people on every other meta champ, so he was like, fuck it, I'll play mid-Yi with Blade of the Ruined King and make fun of them that way. Like, why not? At that point, like, at that point, why not? I think coming back to the substitution, when I mentioned Faker, like again, like a world championship winning team is a team that's willing to place Easy Hoon over Faker. It's that simple, right? I mean, I actually don't remember if Easy Hoon got to play at Worlds.
He didn't play
He
by
didn't play
Worlds.
at
No,
Worlds, really.
They won the spring by using Easy Hoon, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the issue is that with the scenario that I talked about, where Easy Hoon played the first 2 games of the MSI final, and then Faker was like subbed in after that, right?
That's the what if.
That's the what if, because it is that exact scenario where T1 goes down 0-2, Faker comes in, and then Faker goes 2-1, but they lose the series.
Put it this way, that's the one where everyone was like, well, Monty, you're going to have to give it up to the LPL. It's like, nope, technicality, Faker was up 2-1, that doesn't count. It's like, damn it, not again.
True. I mean, obviously that's the way you look at it. But the idea is I think if you have like a main lineup and like a secondary lineup, I think the idea, or like you have like what you want to come into the tournament with, but you feel like one of your players is stylistically better suited. I think you should probably just like use one game on that, right? Because like I said, if you lose 2 games in a best of 5, you're really with your back against the wall. And I do say that after losing like my 3rd reverse sweep in 2 years.
You've had a few, mate. I've got a question.
I've been on the receiving end.